At night, Sanemi Shinazugawa and Abnai Aguro and 2 demon-hunting warriors were stalking an old castle. Because it was so used and abandoned by humans, the old castle became the hideout for the demons. The second soldier said that the residents had been kidnapped by the devil and disappeared. Worse yet, today a woman was also reported to have disappeared without a trace. Luckily they weren't too late, because at that moment a demon appeared who ran away carrying a woman. Seeing this, of course, the hunters immediately moved quickly to chase the demon. Then, the demon realized that he was being chased, but he didn't bother and just disappeared. On the bottom floor of an abandoned castle, it turns out that the hunters have been greeted by a lot of demons. When a demon tried to attack one of the soldiers, Obanai immediately sealed the neck and finished off the demon. Sanemi, who saw this, did not remain silent. He then launched his slash, which made the demons fall in one hit. The 2 Hashira holders managed to defeat dozens of demons in a short time. Due to impossible conditions, Obanai then ordered the 2 demon hunter soldiers to immediately go home and hand over all the matters here to him. The 2 of them then left after Sanemi emphasized that they were only a burden in this battle. Even though the atmosphere in this castle was quite suspicious, Sanemi and Obanai immediately moved after hearing a woman's cry for help. Sanemi then used the second wind breathing technique to cleanse the demons blocking his path, even though with just 1 slash this sword technique was truly extraordinary. Obanai, who saw this, did not want to be outdone. He then used the 5th snake breathing technique, where the attack could cut every demon's neck very accurately. Seeing Sanemi and Obanai's strength, the demon who kidnapped the woman immediately realized that the 2 demon hunters were Hashira, and the demon immediately ran away. Even though he was very annoyed with the nature of the demons, Sanemi continued to run and tried to chase the kidnapping demon while cutting down several demons who came at him. Sanemi and Obanai now arrive outside the castle. They are approached by many demon troops. Obanai then asked Sanemi to immediately rush to save the woman, while he would hold the other demons behind. Sanemi, who didn't want to waste time, then climbed to the top of the castle to face the kidnapping demon and other demon troops. Seeing Sanemi's terrifying power, the kidnapper demon was really cornered. The demon then threw the woman and fortunately was immediately caught by Obanai. The 2 Hashira ran after the kidnapping demon because he tried to escape by entering a large hole in the roof of the castle. When Sanemi and Obanai plunged into the castle, they unexpectedly witnessed an unusual sight, where there is a strange stretch of town filled with demons. In fact, they enter an infinity castle which can change its location pattern at any time. The kidnapping demon smiled and he immediately disappeared in the blink of an eye when Sanemi was about to enter him. Sanemi and Obanai then returned to the real world with various questions that were so difficult to explain. A few days later, Kanao Tuyuri was seen returning after completing a mission. He then reported the results of the mission to his teacher, namely Shinobu Kocho. In accordance with previous information, Tokido Kanrochi and Tanjiro have succeeded in defeating the 2 upper moon demons. The fact that the demon Nezuko can conquer sunlight will definitely be a big change in the future. Kocho is also sure that Kibutsuji Muzan will deploy many demon troops to capture Nezuko. Of course, all this is done so that Muzan can be immune to sunlight. A moment later, Kocho asked Kanao to look after Nezuko because he had to attend an emergency meeting at Ubuyashiki's residence. At the same time, Tanjiro is seen resting to recover after the fight at the sword forging village. Goto then explained that the residents of the sword forging village were currently working hard to relocate their village. The demon hunting squad wanted to build several empty villages in case problems like this occurred. Things like this make it easier for residents to flee or move to new villages and make the devils confused. Goto then informed that Tanjiro was unconscious for a week, while Kanrochi and Tokido began to regain consciousness on the 2nd day, and they were able to fully recover on the 3rd day. But apart from that, demon hunters are asked to be more alert, because many things might happen in the future. The scene then moves to Ubuyashiki's residence, where the Hashira are seen gathering together. They are Jomi Himejima, the Rock Hashira, Sanemi Shinazugawa, the Wind Hashira, Mitsuri Kanroji, the Love Hashira, Muichiro Tokido, the Mist Hashira, Obanai Aguro, the Snake Hashira, Shinobu Kocho, the Insect Hashira, and Yu Tomioka, the Water Hashira. After a little discussion about the incident at the sword forging village, all the Hashiras looked serious when Amain Ubuyashiki arrived. Amain explained that at this Hashira meeting he would represent the Great Master or Kagaya Ubuyashiki. He also explained that it was impossible for Ubuyashiki to attend the meeting due to his increasingly deteriorating health condition. The Hashiras were shocked after hearing this news, but they all kept praying that Ubuyashiki could survive longer. Amain then opened the meeting by explaining the demon status of Nezuko, who is immune to sunlight, It is certain that Muzan will target Nezuko to gain this unique power. Awakend continued, when fighting against the 4th and 5th ranked upper moon demons in the sword forging village, Kenroji and Tokido managed to awaken the demon hunter's mark on his body. Since the Sengoku era, there were several first respiratory warriors who almost defeated Muzan, all of them who had the mark of a demon hunter like Kanrijo and Tokido. Even though this story sounds like a legend, this is a fact that really happened. All the Hashiras who heard this news were very shocked. Then Sanemi asked why something as important as this had to be hidden. Awakend then answered that many people tortured themselves because they couldn't reveal the hunter's mark. There are lots of rumors about the mark of a demon hunter, but one thing is certain: when a person with the mark of a demon hunter appears, the people around him will also have the mark like a resonance. This information is clearly written in the notebook of the first respiratory warrior, and the first person to have this mark in the current generation is Tanjiro, who is not a Hashira. But unfortunately, Tanjiro himself doesn't understand how the hunter's mark can appear. Awakend hopes that Kenroji and Tokido can provide an explanation and teach everyone how to make the mark appear. Kanroji was very enthusiastic when giving explanations, which made everyone even more confused, very different from Tokido, where the young man could give clear and straightforward explanations. At first, Tokido didn't realize that his demon hunter mark had awakened. At that time, he thought of several unusual things while the battle was going on. If the requirements were met, maybe everyone could awaken their own demon hunter mark. At that time, Tokido was poisoned by a demon and couldn't move his body. He then used his breathing technique to slow down the circulation of the poison. Tokido's anger suddenly exploded when he saw that Kotetsu was about to be killed by the enemy. This made Tokido's heart rate increase to more than 200 per minute. His body felt burning hot with a temperature above 39 degrees. This made Tokido's condition really feel like he was on verge of death. For now, awakening the demon hunter's mark was the top priority for the Hashira. Before leaving, Awakend explained about the consequences of the demon hunter mark generation training, which made some of the Hashiras look very surprised. A few moments later, Gyu said goodbye because he felt he had no business in this place. The absence of a clear explanation, of course, made the Hashira try to restrain him. However, when Sanemi was about to stop Gyu's steps, at that moment Jomi clapped his hands together, producing extraordinary pressure.
関係ないとはどういうことだ。
理由を説明してください。
てめえ、待ちやがれ。
俺はお前たちとは違う。
前にも同じこと言ったな、富岡。
喧嘩はダメだよ。
待ちやがれ。
ダメダメダメ。
座れ、話を進める。
The scene returns to Tanjiro, where that afternoon he was visited by Hotaru Haganezuka. Haganezuka looks exhausted to death after working on sharpening Tanjiro's sword. While shaking violently, Haganezuka handed Tanjiro's sword carefully. Of course, Tanjiro was very grateful, especially as Haganezuka implanted the protective bar for Kyojuro Rengoku's sword. When examining the blade of his new Nichiren sword, Tanjiro was very surprised because the black color of the sword looked so thick. Haganezuka said that the sword was of the best quality. It is certain that its former owner was a very strong swordsman. On the blade of the sword is the word extermination engraved, and this sword is equivalent to the swords of the Hashira. The person who forged this sword seemed to have only one goal, namely to eradicate all demons on Earth. When fighting against Han Tengu, Tanjiro did not find any words engraved on this sword. At that time, Haganezuka became annoyed because the sword was still in the initial process of sharpening, which of course had a lot of rust that could not be removed completely. While scolding Tanjiro, Haganezuka revealed that he was forced to repeat the sharpening process from the beginning because he experienced so many problems. Haganezuka then left Tanjiro and Goto, even though his body looked unhealthy and kept shaking. It turns out that without Tanjiro realizing it, Genya Shinazugawa was being treated in the same room as Tanjiro. Tanjiro then apologized because Genya might have been disturbed by Haganezuka's arrival. Not long after, Inosuke suddenly appeared, smashing the bedroom window. Everyone in the room was shocked to see Inosuke's crazy behavior. Inosuke then immediately said that soon there would be group training activities to increase strength. This made Genya even more uncomfortable and wanted to immediately move rooms. The scene then returns to the Hashira's place, where they have completed the arrangement of plans to train members of the demon hunting squad. Jomi then suggested that this training could start in 3 days. Everyone had to race against time, especially since they all didn't know Muzan's next plans. At least by moving faster, they can anticipate undesirable things. This moment must be utilized as best as possible. In order to strengthen the entire demon hunting squad in a short time, all Hashira then agreed to Jomi's proposal to hold Hashira training. Jomi also asked the former Hashira for help to maximize his training, but the problem now was Gyu, where the water Hashira left without giving an acceptable explanation. On the other hand, Zenitsu is seen visiting Tanjiro after completing his mission. Zenitsu was very annoyed because he didn't have time to relax. He also felt weak because he was forced to take Hashira training. However, on the contrary, Tanjiro is very enthusiastic because this training is a shortcut to strengthening himself. If you fight someone who is stronger, you have the opportunity to absorb knowledge much more quickly. Hearing Tanjiro's words made Zenitsu even more annoyed. He then bit Tanjiro's head and threatened not to be friends anymore. When Zenitsu wanted to leave, Tanjiro immediately stopped him. Tanjiro was grateful because Zenitsu had previously taught him the lightning breathing technique. This also made Tanjiro succeed in beheading the hand Tengu, even though previously Tanjiro's legs could barely be moved. Luckily, Zenitsu was very happy with the praise and hoped that Tanjiro would recover soon. In the afternoon, Tengen Uzui was seen training the demon hunting troops while scolding them. He was very annoyed because the young men in front of him were so weak and lackluster. The troops were so exhausted that they were unable to continue training. Uzui deliberately did this so that the troops would get used to the hardships. If they were trained by an active Hashira, then the troops' training portion would be even harder, and indeed the troops were knocked down brutally by Sanemi. Sanemi then got really annoyed. If they only trained like this, they couldn't possibly increase their body temperature. On the other hand, Kenroji made the hunters very afraid and in pain with body flexibility training techniques. The continuous attacks from Obanai and Tokido scared the demon hunters' guts for a moment. Jomi then asked the troops to survive the onslaught of the very strong waterfall. Unfortunately, one by one the demon hunters were seen fainting and being swept away by the water. In order to eradicate the demons, for the sake of the comrades who have passed away, and for the sake of everyone who is still alive, the demon hunting squad must be patient through this tough training. In front of Ubuyashiki, Amain said that the Hashira had started training for the troops as a basis for preparation for the next battle. All of this was done just to defeat Muzan Kibutsuji. Unfortunately, Ubuyashiki's health condition seemed to be getting worse, but he thanked Amain because he had always cared for and helped him. Ubuyashiki's sincere expression made Amain's tears fall. Meanwhile, in a very hidden place, Tamayo was suddenly visited by a Kasugai crow. The bird then said that he was Kagaya Ubuyashiki's messenger. He was able to find this place thanks to connections between humans, even though this crow was very well trained, but in fact he was just a bird. The crow then asked Tamayo to calm down because he had no intention of hurting anyone, but the bird realized that he still didn't have Tamayo's full trust. The crow then revealed his main reason for meeting Tamayo, where in the demon hunting squad there was a person who had knowledge of the demon body and pharmacology, namely Shinobu Kocho. The demon hunting squad asks Tamayo to work together in checking Nezuko's changes with Kocho. Again, all this is done just to defeat Muzan. Tamayo was very surprised when the crow invited her to go to Ubuyashiki's residence. The woman really didn't expect that a demon like herself would be invited to the headquarters of the demon hunting squad. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel.